What's up, guys? Greed here. Like and subscribe, guys, and comment, guys. Anyway, I've got something to complain about again. Now, listen. I understand the whole greed's a doomer. Don't listen to greed. He wants the game to fail. So I think I should address something before I complain, and it's that people always like all you do is complain, and it's like, well, yeah, because well, that's for two reasons. Okay, the first reason is the most obvious, and it's the fact that when you complain about an issue that you think is problematic, and people are more likely to listen to that because it's a complaint about something that's potentially problematic, which means that they're looking for your opinion about why something is an issue. They're looking for a greater insight. So when I complain about things, it's coming from the perspective of I think something is an issue that I wish wasn't a problem, so I air my grievances about it. And the second reason is also obvious, because I get like 4 times as many views when I complain than when I praise the game. So I complain. Like, I'm gonna be honest, that's absolutely one of the reasons. But it's not forced. Like, my complaints aren't forced. If I have genuine praise to give the game, I will give it to the game, in most cases. Like, it's not like when I rant, it's like I'm forcing it because people like to watch it. It's because I genuinely just prefer to do that, and it just so happens that people prefer to watch that. So I thought I'd get that out of the way first. The next thing that I'm going to complain about is something that I will admit I was wrong about. I was wrong. Now, I believe this is rare that I'm wrong about something, especially in Overwatch. But I will admit that I was indeed very wrong, and that I'm here to come out and say I was wrong. I used to be a big advocate for 5 stacking and 6 stacking in Grandmaster, which, to be fair, I still am. I love 5 stacking, well, it was 6 stacking, it's now 5 stacking. I love stacking with people. I love it. And I think in Grandmaster, and in any rank, it's okay. However, the reason I'm saying I was wrong about wanting it in this game is because, of course, now not to be mean, the way the devs implemented it is so bad that, honestly, I would rather it just went away. If you don't know how 6 stacking and 5 stacking works in this game, I will explain a little bit. So, the way it works is, for example, there are 2 group types. You have a narrow group and a wide group. A narrow group plays in the narrow player pool, which is basically, if you group with anyone, you can group with anyone you want as long as they are all within 5 divisions of each other below Masters, and 3 divisions above Masters up to Champ, where it's 1 division. So, for example, if you're Champ 5 and you queue with a Champ 4, it's a wide group. But if you're Champ 5 and you queue with a Champ 5, it's a narrow group. If you're in Masters or GM, that's a 3 division wide group, which means that if you're Masters 1, you can queue with Masters 1, 2, and 3, but not 4. Same thing for GM. And everything below, or everything Diamond and below is 5. So, for example, if you're Diamond 1, you can queue with everyone up to 5 divisions away, which is Diamond 5. I believe even Plat 1 would work as well. So, that's how it works. And it's terrible. It's not good at all, because the way the wide match thing works is basically if you ever queue as a wide match, your queues become infinite. I'm not joking. I have a video about this before. The implementation of wide queue was just such a mega failure. It just does not work at all. It's literally a waste of time. You're queuing upwards of like an hour in gold. If you're like gold 5 and you queue with like a plat 2 or something, your queue is infinite. You're never getting a game. So you can basically only play the narrow queue. But the problem is regardless of what stack size you are, you will always play against the players that are queuing into your group. For example, if you're a 5 stack in your wide grouping, that means you can play against any player at all, any formation of players in the wide queue. Now, solo queue players can't be wide queue. Only, like, a duo and a 3 stack and a 5 stack, and you can't 4 stack in a white queue. So if you're a 5 stack and you queue in a white queue, you could potentially go against a duo and a 3 stack or a 5 stack, right? But in narrow queue, you can solo queue that. But you can also 5-stack in a narrow queue. And because you're both in the narrow queue, that means you can both play against each other. And this is obviously a big issue because a solo queue player against a 5-stack player is obviously quite a big deal. It doesn't make any sense that a stack can go against a solo queue, but they can. And I've been playing against them a lot. And I've been losing to them a lot. So I'm obviously going to complain about it. Not because I lost, but because it's bullshit, Even if I was benefiting from it, it'd be bullshit. But here's another big issue that comes with the whole 5-stacking thing. And this is notorious on EU Ladder. And if you're a top 500 player on EU, then you will know who I'm talking about. You will know the group that I'm talking about. And do not put their names in the comment. Don't make fun of them. But if you know, you know. This is a notorious high GM 5-stack that plays the game a lot together. But they also sometimes solo queue. Now, this might be a little obvious to you. These players are not high GM caliber at all. They work very well as a team, but they are not GM level players in terms of their game sense or their mechanics. So when they 5-stack in GM1, you got a real chance of beating them as solo queue players, because they're actually not that good. So when they 5-stack against me, especially those players in particular, because they're only like Masters players in reality, I'm actually not that mad at it, because I have a real chance of beating them, because they're actually not that good. And it's generally a more fun game because it requires my team to calm a little bit if they want to win. So if anything, it makes them play a little better, on my team anyway, and it can be an enjoyable game sometimes. But that is only because the 5-stack that I'm talking about is bad. If it was a good 5-stack, it would be very problematic. But because these guys are bad, it's fine. Now here's the other problem. These players tend to solo queue sometimes. And you probably know where this is going. Because they like to solo queue sometimes, I'll get them on my team. Sometimes. Maybe I'll get 1 or 2 of them on my team. And they're bad. Just to say it lightly, they're not good. So I don't think I've ever seen anyone win a game with any of these players on their team when they solo queue. And I'm not being hyperbolic. I'm not saying that to flame them. I genuinely think that's true, at least in my experience. I have never seen a single one of these players win a game in a solo queue or duo stack in high GM, ever, in my life. So sometimes I'll queue up, and I'll press tab, and I'll see that they're on Mercy, like they usually are, and I know, wow, my elo is gone, and I'm going to waste the next 15 minutes of my life dealing with the fact that I essentially have a high diamond player on my team in my GM1 top 500 game, and that's just it. The game's the game. So now I have this hyper-inflated, mega boosted player in my game because they're super boosted by the 5-stacking. And although I'm annoyed about it, and although I said that I like 5-stacking in GM, I'm pretty 50-50 on it now. For the reasons I obviously stated. Firstly, it makes solo queue absolutely hell, because the way they implemented it is just fucking retarded in my opinion. I don't know why solo queue players can play against 5-stacks. It's so dumb. But also because when these players decide to solo queue, it means that anyone who gets them on their team basically loses by default, which can be funny sometimes, queuing into like a top 500 game or whatever, and then seeing one of these players on the enemy team, and then literally every player in all chat is already accepting that the game is over and they've lost. Now these guys obviously get us a lot of slack, but to be fair, they are fucking horrible at the game, to be fair. In the nice way, of course. I'm not flaming them, but I am. And I don't like playing with them at all. They're not toxic or anything, but they're very like, what can I say? Like, they're very ego-pilled, if you know what I mean. They're a bit like me. They're a bit like me. But they are ego-pilled, so it can be annoying to play with them sometimes, and they're also bad. But that's just, it is what it is. And they're mega boosted by the 5-stacking in Grandmaster, and that's the experience. So, although I actually like 5-stacking in GM, I do not like that they can play against solo queue players, and that's it. I will kind of accept the fact that these players might want to solo queue sometimes, and they're super boosted, and sometimes they'll be on my team in solo queue, which is really annoying, but it's okay, because after I find them in one game, I can avoid them, and it's over. Completely fine. But the fact that, it's almost entirely the fact that I can spend 40 minutes in a GM1 queue, like I just did, and then go against a 5-stack of players who are very good solo queue players, and just know for a fact that I lost. And no matter what I do, I basically can't win if they take the game seriously. Now, sometimes these 5-stacks are obviously going to like fuck around and troll a bit because they're just having a good time 5-stacking. But in a majority of cases, in the higher ranks, they tend to be very try-hardy, which, you know, good for them, man. They can do what they want. Like, they're 5-stacking. Play the game however you want to do it. But it's the fact that I'm solo queue and I play against them. I'm just like, the fuck am I meant to do? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know who at Blizzard thought 5-stacking against solo queue players was a good idea, but they smoked them at like a lot of something to come to that conclusion. Well, anyway, goodbye. That was me complaining and bitching about something that's not important to 99% of the player base. Because I'm a whiny crybaby. Goodbye.